Just because you've sworn off Botox doesn't mean you need to face aging alone. Hi, I'm Ivy with Ivy and Fields, and today we're at Skintique Spa in Miami for part 3 of the Aging Gracefully series. This segment is all about exploring professional treatments that support natural aging without injections. Long before clean beauty was even trending, Skintique was setting the standard. For over 25 years, they've delivered science-backed treatments with a naturally minded approach. Now let's meet the woman behind it all, Jeanette Acosta. And I do need a little bit of paper because there are so many credentials, but she is a graduate of the Florida College of Natural Health, a certified paramedical esthetician, a Florida board certified licensed esthetician, and clinical and medical electrologist with advanced training in laser technologies. Okay, 7 years of biomedical engineering experience, a product formulator, and also a celebrity facialist. I had to say that all myself because she also happens to be one of the most humble people ever. We're gonna talk to her today about aging gracefully. I am turning 40, so what can your spa do for me?
Skintique can do a lot for you. We have a variety of different modalities that stimulate collagen, that help with fine lines, with toning, with tightening of the skin, with clarity, with pigmentation.
And what would you say makes Skintique unique?
Skintique is unique in the sense that we approach aging naturally. We approach the solutions in a way that your body will regenerate your own collagen, your own skin tightening. We help for your muscles kind of to wake up, as opposed to other modalities that are out there that I don't criticize. It's everyone has whatever they prefer, but I like to offer a different approach to aging, a more natural, holistic way that you can look like yourself, refreshed, 10 years younger. We also have a lot of treatments that we can do as a preventative. So let's say that you're 25, 30 years old, we have things that you can do to prevent, environmental damage, skin laxity, things like that.
So let's dive into the treatments because your spa happens to offer so many of the naturally minded options that are out there. So we're going to learn a lot today. I want to start with microneedling because this is probably maybe one of the more popular ones.
Yes, microneedling is very popular, and we actually have 3 different types of microneedling. We have the traditional microneedling with the metal, they're stainless steel needles, probes, and that is basically all microneedling causes an injury to the skin. When you cause an injury to the skin, you're sending a signal to repair. So that way you're sending a signal to produce more collagen. Now, there are different reasons why you would opt for microneedling. Some people want it as preventative, some people want it as corrective. Corrective would be someone that has existing fine lines, someone that has existing discoloration, someone that has lost some volume, some facial volume to the face, and wants to kind of plump everything up. At that point, we would do a corrective microneedling, which we would opt for either the bio microneedling or the traditional microneedling. We also have something called metatherapy. Metatherapy has carbon fiber probes. They're not stainless steel needles. They're less aggressive and they are less traumatic to the skin. So now we can actually treat people with very sensitive skin or very thin skin. Before, only a certain demographic could have safely microneedling. Now, I know that there's a lot of options out there. There's even home microneedling. I do not recommend that. Every skin type is different and every skin has a different depth. So there's someone that might have very thick skin. There's other people that have thin skin. There's other people that have very sensitive rosacea skin. And we, the professional, will be able to do a proper analysis and decide which of the 3 modalities would be more beneficial for you in particular.
And for microneedling, what is the pre and post care like?
For microneedling, basically the pre-care is you just want to be on something that's not going to destroy your skin barrier. Basically, no harsh retinols, retin-A's, anything that's very, very exfoliating for about 7 days prior to that. You also don't want to have any injectables at least 7 days before undergoing any type of facial treatment, but specifically microneedling. You don't want to have Botox or fillers or anything like that for at least 7 to 10 days prior. And you want to already be very diligent about your home care, especially sunscreen, because microneedling will make you a little bit more sensitive to the sun and to the environment. So you want to be able to go into the treatment confident that you're going to not have a very high sensitivity reaction.
And for that post-care, are we staying out of the sun for 7 days? What does that look like?
Post-care, we always recommend to stay out of the sun at least for a week. There are different products that will be recommended to use post-care depending on the skin situation that we're trying to address, and also depending on the skin type. We would be recommending specific post-care, home care products that really need to be followed. Now, consultation is extremely important. The consultation process for us is number one, because we need to determine if the client is going to be following directions.
A good fit
which is
too.
very, very important. Yeah, absolutely. It's not just us seeing and determining whether the client is a candidate for that particular modality. Their skin may be a candidate, but their lifestyle may not be, and that's very important.
Right. So they confess to you that they're going on vacation that weekend.
Then
Probably
absolutely
not a good time to get microneedling.
I have a personal rule that I will never start anyone on microneedling or certain other modalities in the summer, regardless of whether they can or can't. If it's someone that I have never done microneedling on, even though I may know their skin, but I've never done microneedling on them before, I will never start it in the summer. Just because, I mean, it's summer probably year-round in Florida, but just because during the summer, there are more opportunities to have a last-minute day out on a boat, a last-minute beach day.
Right.
People are coming over, let's do a barbecue and go in the pool. You're not going to be thinking, oh, gosh, I just did microneedling 3 days ago.
All right, let's move on to microdermabrasion facials.
Okay. Microdermabrasion facials. So this is a fun fact. Microdermabrasion was developed about 25 years ago to replace dermaplaning.
Oh, okay.
I did dermaplaning 30 years ago. When it started becoming a fad again, about, 4 years ago, I thought, oh, that's funny. That's how I started. That was your first mechanical.
Dermaplaning makes good video content because people, like pimple popping, people love seeing it and it's come back. So.
Yeah, absolutely. But dermaplaning has been around for many, many, many years. A company called 𝐵𝐼OMedic was the one who started it all and is now La Roche-Posay. But yes, so basically the difference between microdermabrasion and dermaplaning is that microdermabrasion does not remove hair. And 30 years ago, women did not want to remove their hair because they felt everything was gonna grow back stubbly. And there were certain people that were not candidates for dermaplaning because they had terminal hair. They had that thicker, darker hair, and that will grow back looking as a stubble. So lo and behold, microdermabrasion was developed, and it is a wonderful, wonderful tool for not only mechanical exfoliation, it's also a wonderful tool to kind of go in there and tweak. Prior to microneedling being around, we would work on scarring with the microdermabrasion because we could do the whole face and then we can go back and target certain areas where there were the acne pits or surgical scars or pigmentation. But again, microdermabrasion is not for everyone. And you could opt for having a dermaplaning. And some people prefer the dermaplaning because they want that glass look, which microdermabrasion doesn't give you. But microdermabrasion allows me to go a little bit more into the areas that may need a little bit more work that you can't do with the dermaplaning. So it's a mechanical exfoliation. It helps to get rid of all the dead skin and to promote a nice glow, and the pore size looks much more tighter. It's a very nice treatment.
And then are you following up with any other ingredients after, or is it just the mechanical?
No, you have the mechanical. We basically do the microdermabrasion facial is a full facial with the microdermabrasion treatment incorporated into it. So if you need the extractions, if you want all of the luxurious, pampering, that is included with the microdermabrasion facial. So the difference is you have the microdermabrasion facial and then you just have the facial. So this would be an addition, almost as an add-on, if you will. A lot of people opt to start with that, and we recommend it before going into the more aggressive treatments, anti-aging treatments.
Now, how would a microdermabrasion facial differ from a Hydrafacial?
So a microdermabrasion facial differ from a Hydrafacial. The Hydrafacial is basically a full system. It's all done with a machine. We do very minimal extractions. When I first started doing Hydrafacials, it was considered the no extraction facial, that everything was done, no manual, everything was done with a machine. Through time, through practice, they realized that we do need to go in and kind of make sure that everything came out. But the difference is everything is done with the Hydrafacial. There is some customization that you can do with the Hydrafacial. Hydrafacial has, their own serums, their own solutions that we have to use. And it's, cleansing, exfoliating. There's also mechanical and chemical exfoliation with the Hydrafacial. We do the mechanical exfoliation with a specific tip, and the chemical exfoliation is with a glycolic. We either use a 7, a 15, or a 30%, depending on your skin type and depending on what we want to address. and we do the extractions with the machine with another tip. We do the extractions, then we neutralize, we go in, we make sure everything is perfectly cleaned out, and then we infuse the cocktail of vitamins. There's vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin K, vitamin D. Another thing I like about Hydrafacial is that it goes and it cleans the inside walls of the pore. So if you're someone that wears a lot of makeup, or you wear a lot of sunscreen because you're an athlete or you're a runner or you work outside and you have a lot of congestion in those pores, the Hydrafacial is amazing at getting it out. I call it like a pressure wash. It goes in there and it just cleans everything out of that pore. And when you're going to infuse the vitamin, the anti-aging, it's an anti-aging cocktail. When you're going to infuse that in, they have a special vortex tip where you really see a beautiful, beautiful glow. The skin just looks really, really pretty. So it just depends. It depends on, again, it would be during the consultation. During the consultation, we determine which one of those two facials will be more beneficial for that particular client, for that particular lifestyle, and that particular skin type.
And for both of these facials, what kind of frequency would you recommend if someone is using these as their, primary professional help for aging skin concerns?
It depends. If they're only doing Hydrafacials or Microdermabrasion with a facial, if they're kind of sticking to that, I would choose either one or the other. If they're doing it for anti-aging purposes, I would incorporate either a microneedling or microcurrent treatment, or both. The frequency would be determined on their skin type, on what their goal is, and how frequent they can come. What's their availability?
Right. Would you say 1 to 3 months is like an acceptable range, or is this something you do once a year? If you do it once a year, are you really going to see results from it? No. Okay.
No. There are people who come once a year because they don't either live here or they just forget that they have to do it. Life happens, life happens. But I'll just give you an example myself. I will do a Hydrafacial. I just did a Hydrafacial the other day. My skin really needed it. I had a lot of superficial dryness. I haven't been as great as I should be with my home care because, again, life happens. And I really needed a Hydrafacial. So we did the Hydrafacial. We did the Dermaplaning to get rid of a lot of that dead skin. I had a lot of dry, dead skin. And she did the Dermaplaning, went into the Hydrafacial, and then my skin looked really pretty. But I only do that every couple of months.
Okay.
In between, I do a microcurrent treatment and I do a microneedling treatment because I just turned 55. And
you look great, let me tell you.
Thank you. No Botox, no fillers.
Amazing.
Thank you. All home care, and the girls here take really good care of me. If I forget, they're on me. Jeanette, you haven't had anything done in a really long time. And again, I just recently went from doing the traditional metatherapy, which is the microneedling with the carbon needles.
The softer one.
The softer one. I did the bioneedling with the EMS, which is electromuscular stimulation. It's an amazing treatment. It was a little bit spicier. I did have a little bit more downtime, meaning I was red for about 3 days. But after that, I really noticed a difference in my pore size and just the overall appearance of my fine lines. I would do that once every 3 months. And microcurrents, which works more, we can talk about microcurrents after. Microcurrents works more on the muscle. So again, we have things here that will address the muscle, the skin, and the texture. So those are 3 components that you really need to consider when you're thinking of anti-aging, because your muscles will start to loosen, and you need microcurrents because microcurrents is almost like a workout for your facial muscles.
Yeah. So let's get into microcurrents. Actually, what does that look like exactly?
Microcurrent is basically it's a device. We have 2 different kinds, and we have 3 different modalities. It basically is a low current, direct current that utilizes the water inside of your skin, your tissue, to create a contraction. And depending on the laxity of the skin and how well the muscle tone of the skin is, that's when we would determine whether or not you needed to come in once a week for 4 weeks in a row, or once a week for 6 weeks in a row, or you can maybe, there's people who do it for maintenance and they come once a month. They can combine the microneedling with the microcurrent. You do the microcurrent first, and then you follow it up with a microneedling. So now you're having skin muscle tightening, skin and collagen induction.
So it sounds like you can either do repeated treatments for a set period, or if you're on maintenance mode, like maybe once a month, or adding it on to other treatments.
There are treatments that you want to do once a month. For example, microcurrents. But there are treatments that you cannot do once a month. There are others that we do once every 3 months. When you're going into a maintenance, for example, microneedling, we will determine, depending on your skin type and what your goal is, we will determine the frequency of the initial treatment plan, the initial care plan. After that, you go into maintenance mode. I always give the example, you go to the gym and you have a trainer and you're eating right and you see results, you're being consistent for 3 months, you see results. You don't necessarily have to keep up that intensity all the way for the rest of your life to keep those results, but you do need to continue going. So it's the same thing as kind of, being in an intensive workout regimen. It's the same thing for your face. If you have something that you want to address, you want to correct, if you're in a correction mode, then your treatment plan will be more aggressive at the beginning, and then you will go into a maintenance mode, which sometimes clients don't come for 3 months, but you have to be really good about your home care.
Yes.
Because that is, I think 60% of your treatment results are based on your home care. You see us once a month. You see you every day.
Right.
And you're also exposing yourself to different elements and lifestyle habits and nutrition, which we go into all of that during the consultation.
All right, so now we're going to talk about red light therapy. And there are obviously at-home options, but you have a little bit more advanced one here in the spa. So what does red light therapy look like when you're getting it professionally done?
Red light therapy, when you're getting it professionally done, should be a panel. And there are, I don't want to say it should be a panel, because I do have very, very good, I have the 𝐀𝐠𝐤𝐳 and I have LightStim for red light therapy. I have people that are claustrophobic and that cannot go under the panel. So I'll do the handheld one. But even the handheld ones, I don't put it right up against the skin. I want to talk a little bit about professional versus home. You can get a professional light panel at home for your use, and that would be my recommendation. I particularly don't like personally, and I've also been hearing from even dermatologists that the red light masks that you use for the home, that you put directly on your face, are causing to have pigmentation, melasma coming out. And I sort of foresaw that, because melasma is not just reactive to the sun, it's reactive to heat. And when you have something on your face that's emitting heat, you will stimulate melasma, because that is the goal of those red light masks, is to stimulate. They're stimulants. So they stimulate collagen. They cause inflammation. It's on purpose. All of that has a purpose. When you're doing it on a panel, it's not directly on your face.
Right, I've seen it's minimum 6 inches is what I've read.
Correct. But when you have a face mask on,
It's like half an inch.
It's on your face. When we do it here, even, like I said, even when I do the handheld ones, I keep them at least 6 inches off of the face. When I'm treating melasma, when I'm treating someone that has hyperpigmentation, I don't do red light at all. I do yellow or green. The red light is only for a person that has no predisposed melasma or hyperpigmentation. They're not predisposed to melasma or hyperpigmentation, and they want to stimulate collagen. They're doing it specifically for collagen production. So every light spectrum has a purpose. The blue light is antibacterial. It's for acne. The blue is perfect. It's an anti-inflammatory. The red is an inflammatory. It's creating inflammation for that production. So rather than getting into the strengths, you can get very, very good, powerful home devices. I'm just very against the ones that you put directly on your face. There's very good brands, very reputable brands that have extremely good wavelengths that you can use at home. But again, I would prefer the panel or the handheld that you can control how close you keep it to your face. Now, the best device and the best skincare that you can have is the one that you use.
Right, consistency.
Because these light devices are expensive and you need to use them at least 3 days a week. When you start off, they want you to use it every day. They want you to use it at least 3 days a week. If you opt for a professional level, something a little bit better, you can start off with every 3 days, because it is a much more robust piece of equipment that has the capability of really delivering that light spectrum into the layers that it needs to get to do the work.
If you don't keep up with it, it's not going to do anything. It's not one of those like my once a month facial, let me do my once a month red light therapy.
Right.
It's not going to work.
Yeah, and it's, you know, it's being pushed a lot now through the influencers. Even some doctors that are influencers are really promoting a lot of these facial masks, and some of them are like $1,000. And I know clients that have bought them and they're not using them.
If you're going to make the commitment, I think that's the advice.
Absolutely.
Could be a good fit for managing, you know, your aging skin, but again, it has to be consistent.
And one of the good things about the light therapy is that it helps your products work better.
Oh, interesting.
It does, because it helps. It's almost as a delivery system.
So now for someone who maybe has already done Botox and they loved the immediate effect that Botox gives you, but they're wanting to get away from it, from these treatments that we discussed, which one or what combination would you recommend to them as a good replacement?
As a good replacement for Botox, I would say microneedling. I would also say microcurrents.
Okay.
Because microcurrents works on the muscle, and Botox works on the muscle. Now, Botox works on the muscle by deactivating the muscle. It kills it.
Paralyzes
it. Well, it doesn't kill it, I'm sorry. I have nothing against Botox. I really don't. But my train of thought was, I'm going to do it holistically. I'm going to try to keep my skin regenerating itself. I'm going to try to keep my muscles working and until I possibly can. And if it gets to that point, I'll get to that crossroad, I'll make my decision. I don't want to lie, I've done Botox twice. And the reason why I didn't continue doing it is because I didn't like it. I didn't like how I looked. I didn't like the person looking back at me in the mirror. That's just my own personal...
Yeah, some people lose a little bit of the emotion. And
Yeah.
if you're like a very emotive speaker and you use your face a lot to make expressions, it can be, it can feel a little different. I mean, at Ivy and Fields, we, you know, encourage people to set their own standards. You know, we're not all living 100% clean lives. So, you know, you choose
It's impossible.
Right. I remember you had mentioned to me that you do have some clients that do Botox and then
Yes.
they come to you
Yes.
in between and they do microneedling, and they've actually
Yes.
shared with you that they've extended their...
They've extended, yes. I've had clients that used to have to do their Botox every 3 months, and they've extended it 7 months, which is phenomenal because they have their animation, they have their movement, but they don't have the lines because we've been doing we do combination therapy. So we'll do the microneedling and the microcurrent, same visit. I can't tell you that is scientifically proven. I'm just telling you what I've noticed with multiple clients of mine. Multiple clients have said it really extends the life of my Botox. Now, filler is different because filler is very unique in the way that it continues to expand through time. That is something that has been more recently controversial in the news. And I'm not going to say whether I know that fillers disintegrate and leave your body completely 100%. I don't know that, and I'm not claiming that. But I don't recommend doing something like radiofrequency, which we didn't talk about. But radiofrequency is another form of skin tightening, but it melts the fat, and we need fat. Now, if it's somebody that wants to get rid of a little fat, they've got a little bit of jowling or they've got a little bit of submental fat, they have very, very thick cheeks. A lot of people are doing that buccal fat removal to get that
chiseled
look. Then I would say, okay, then go for radiofrequency because the radiofrequency will help to dissolve that fat. Now, on someone that wants to have a youthful appearance, you need your fat.
Right, because as we age, our face becomes more hollow.
Correct.
Right? So.
Correct. And everything kind of falls. So I would recommend someone that has a lot of volume to perhaps do radiofrequency because they can get that lifted, chiseled look.
What's the technology behind the radio frequency? What is it using?
Radiofrequency is basically a frequency that works with the molecules of the water and the fat in your skin, and it's kind of doing this. They're banging against each other to create heat, to generate heat, and to extract. And it does make you a little dehydrated because it is using that water, and it retracts the skin. It makes it almost like when you're doing that cellophane that you heat up the plastic and that it retracts. You know what I'm talking about? Like the fruit baskets. I always use that as an example. And basically what it does is that it retracts the skin and it makes the skin tight. It tightens up the skin. But again, it is using the fat and the water to create that tightening effect. So it does dehydrate a little bit, and it also does dissolve some of that fat. So if it's someone that has a very hollowed skin, hollowed appearance, I would 1000% opt for doing microneedling instead of radiofrequency, because microneedling will plump up the skin, will give you that fullness. Again, especially under the eyes, we lose a lot of fat underneath our eyes, and the microneedling around the eyes, but specifically metatherapy, which is the carbon needles. But radiofrequency has its place, and we have different kinds of radiofrequency. We have colonized radiofrequency, which is fractionated. We also have robotic radiofrequency. We put our hand in this really cool almost gloves with these little tips, and the radiofrequency goes through that, and we're massaging and sculpting the face as we're doing it. It's a very nice treatment. Again, we have a lot of different options for a lot of different people, for a lot of different situations, and it's all natural.
I know that your answer to this next question is going to be, it depends on someone's skin type. But let's just say for like the most average person, their budget is endless. They want the best results possible. What kind of routine would they be looking at?
It depends. One thing I've always really valued myself on is I don't look at the client depending on their pocketbook. I don't know. I treat every client exactly the same, and I give them the options. I give them what my ideal treatment plan for them would be. I truly believe a lot in combination therapy, meaning you want to change it up depending on what they need and when they need it and the time of the year, their lifestyle, etc. So I'll always give them, this is the ideal treatment plan, but this is an alternative. And sometimes even that alternative is, we need to tweak.
More than they're willing to do.
We need to tweak. And then you have people that have done 1,000 things because they go to different places and they don't communicate to the different places what they've done before, what they're going to go do after. They buy all of the products that are being recommended on Instagram. Skin barrier is compromised and I could barely touch them. So I would probably recommend for them not to do anything for a while, take a break, and then come back and see me in 2 weeks. You can repair a skin barrier in a week, depending on what you stop doing and what you replace it with.
So to our captive audience here, what are some things that you see your clients do that you're then having to correct in the treatment room? And what are maybe some recommendations you would make to them of what they should stop or start doing in between visits to their spa?
Stop looking at social media. No. My recommendation would be to follow their home care instructions properly, not to get influenced by people that are just trying to sell them stuff and don't know their skin, hasn't looked at their skin. That is my recommendation. I would just recommend for them to get proper education. Don't get your education from someone who's trying to sell you something online. There are a lot of resources, and I can actually give you some amazing educators in the skincare industry that I even learn so much from. I never stop learning. I've been in this industry for 30 years, and I don't call myself an expert because I'm always learning. And this field, there are so many different things, innovations, and ingredients that are coming out on a day-to-day that it's almost impossible to keep up. So I'm gonna share with you those educators that I know, and maybe you can post it, to actually go and get education about their skin so that they can make the decision on whether or not this that I'm looking at would be beneficial to me or not. I feel that if people were to learn a little bit more about their skin health, they could make better educated decisions on what they buy. And one thing, if there's one thing that I could address, teenagers do not need anti-aging. That is, I'm seeing that, unfortunately, a lot. And moms, we gotta be moms. Gotta put our foot down, because teenagers do not need anti-aging. And it's a great opportunity when your young daughter comes to you and tells you, "Mom, I wanna get this ordinary retinol." That's very common. For you to take that opportunity and educate your daughter or son on the importance of a good cleanser, of protecting your skin with
SPF,
with sunscreen, with an SPF, moisturize, even if it's just something very, very, very light, just to get them into the habit of those 3 key steps rather than the 7-step serums. We really need to be very mindful in the way that we address this skincare phenomenon with our teenagers. It's very important because it's the skin that they're going to have for the rest of their lives, and it could be very easily damaged.
Yeah, I saw some news coverage on it recently, and they interviewed, I think it was at a Sephora or maybe an Ulta, and they asked, the salesperson, what's the most popular product here for teenagers walking in? And it was an anti-aging serum, and they said they like it because of the packaging. It looks nice and pretty and trendy, and they saw an influencer use it, but it's not right for their skin. So
social media is the new glamour magazine. They're not printing anymore. Everything is digital, so they have to capture the attention of the consumer. And
for a corporation, they're always focused on growth, and when you max out, they're millennials.
They're trying to get them. They're trying
Gen Z.
to.
Now you got to go alpha or whatever the next generation is.
They have to get them very young because they'll keep them. They'll have that customer for a very long period of time. But again, education, educating oneself is I think it's key in this industry. I have clients that come in and know every single product and every single device and every single technology, but absolutely nothing about how their skin works.
I will say I looked at a couple of spas to interview for this series, and I'm so happy that you said yes, because what really impressed me about Skintique is just their focus on the individual person and not necessarily just making a sale or adding on a service. It's a very individual thing, and people can get hurt if someone is not consulting you with some integrity. So if you're in Miami, I really think you should come here. I don't know that I will ever recommend another spa. And this is where I'm, I was not a big spa person before, but again, I just turned 40. I'm starting to notice signs of aging, and I'm starting to get more serious about it, and this is where I will be coming. However, if someone does not live in Miami, what advice would you give to someone to help them choose a spa that's going to have their best interests in mind?
You can't go by Instagram or pretty pictures anymore. I would say if you are the type of person that you are a holistic person and you're basically, you care about the environment, find yourself a spa that is holistic and that uses renewable things and that aligns with your philosophy. If you don't do Botox and don't do things like that, then don't go to a place that predominantly that's what they do. After you choose the location that you want to perhaps have your services at, I would call them and book a consultation. The consultation should include your lifestyle, should include them removing all of your makeup and looking underneath the magnification loupe, talking to you, telling you, communicating to you what they're seeing, what they recommend, and definitely asking you a lot of questions. What your skincare regimen looks like, what your lifestyle looks like, what your work looks like. Basically, do you work outside? Do you work inside? Do you travel in the car a lot? All of these things are very important to be able to analyze the full picture and give you the best possible treatment plan for your skin. That is my recommendation. I think that anybody that doesn't spend more than 15 minutes in a consultation doesn't know you, doesn't know your skin. It's very important. Even I've had clients that I've been blessed to be their esthetician now for 25, 30 years, and periodically I do a consultation. Things change, lifestyle changes, medications change. All of these things affect the skin. Maybe something that I was doing doesn't work anymore. And I always ask, are you still happy? Are you happy with your results? Is there anything that perhaps you are seeing a change in that maybe you want to address? Have you noticed anything different? So I think that consultations are one of the most important ingredients in your skincare success. You walk out of there knowing exactly what they recommended and why they recommended, and that you understand why they recommended it. We're professionals, we have the license, and we can recommend, but you have to understand why we're recommending that.
So a red flag would be no consultation.
Red flag, big red flag.
Agreeing to a treatment without really looking at you, right? You don't necessarily want your esthetician to be a yes person. Yes, we'll do that, yes.
Correct, yes. Because that unfortunately, that person will not have your best interest in mind. Doing something aggressive, recommending something aggressive, like a microneedling with not even understanding your skin or how your skin's reacting. 90% of the time someone walks in, we do a facial. Basic facial.
Starter.
Let's clean out your pores, let's exfoliate your skin, let's, get your skin prepped for plan B. Or maybe that was plan B. Maybe you just needed a great facial, something that, was going to clean out your pores, exfoliate, hydrate, and then we recommend some home care.
There you have it. Botox is not your only option. There are many other effective treatments that can give you similar results. So again, if you're in Miami, come and check out Skintique. If you're not in Miami, use those tips to find yourself a good holistic practice with your best interest in mind. So thank you so much.
Welcome. Thank you.